Bonus stage, proactive trauma awareness and prevention. Objective: to equip you with the ability to recognize trauma in others, assess potentially harmful environments, and break generational cycles to ensure future well-being. Step 1. Recognizing trauma in others. Goal: understanding how unhealed trauma manifests in people around you. Lesson: common signs of unresolved trauma in others. How trauma influences communication, emotional regulation, and relationships. The importance of empathy without absorbing others' pain. Reflection. Questions. Have I noticed trauma-driven behaviors in those close to me? How can I be compassionate without becoming emotionally drained? What are my personal boundaries when dealing with someone else's trauma? Action. Step: identify one person in your life who may struggle with unhealed trauma. Reflect on how their behavior affects you and how you can establish healthy boundaries. Journal exercise, recognizing trauma in others. Write about a person who may have unresolved trauma and how you can approach them with empathy. How can I recognize trauma in others without judgment? Step 2. Recognizing speech patterns rooted in trauma. Goal: how words reveal unhealed wounds and influence our mindset. Lesson: the power of language in shaping beliefs and behavior. Common trauma-based phrases people use, e.g., "I don't deserve this," "I can't trust anyone," "I'll never be happy." How to shift your language to reinforce healing instead of reinforcing pain. Reflection. Questions. What negative phrases do I find myself saying often? Where do these beliefs come from? How can I reframe my language to reflect healing instead of trauma? Action. Step: replace one trauma-based phrase with a healthier alternative and practice it daily. Journal exercise, recognizing trauma-based speech patterns. Identify 3 trauma-based phrases you or others use and reframe them. What are some common trauma-based speech patterns I hear? Step 3. Understanding environmental triggers. Goal: identifying toxic spaces and how they affect your mental health. Lesson: how environments shape emotional well-being. Home, work, social settings. Recognizing when an environment is keeping you stuck in trauma. How to remove yourself from toxic spaces or establish boundaries within them. Reflection. Questions. Are there places or situations that make me feel unsafe, anxious, or drained? How does my environment affect my emotional state and decisions? What changes can I make to create a healing space for myself? Action. Step: identify one environmental trigger and take a proactive step to either improve it or remove yourself from it. Exercise. Understanding environmental triggers. List environments that trigger you and ways to create safe spaces. How do I ensure I don't pass my trauma down to others? Step 4. Protecting yourself from re-traumatization. Goal: how to avoid repeating old cycles and getting pulled back into toxic situations. Lesson: the importance of self-check-ins to monitor emotional health. How to recognize when you're slipping into old trauma responses. Creating an emergency action plan for dealing with emotional setbacks. Reflection. Questions. What are my early warning signs of emotional distress? What triggers me to fall into old patterns? What self-care practices can I use to reset and refocus? Action step: create a personal check-in routine, weekly or monthly, to assess your emotional well-being. Exercise. Protecting yourself from re-traumatization. Develop a personal self-care protocol for emotional setbacks. What kind of supportive community do I want to build? Step 5. Preventing the cycle of generational trauma. Goal: ensuring we do not pass our trauma on to others, especially the next generation. Lesson: how trauma is unconsciously passed down through parenting, relationships, and culture. recognizing and stopping harmful behaviors before they impact others, teaching emotional intelligence and resilience to children and loved ones. Reflection. Questions. How did my upbringing shape my trauma? What behaviors or beliefs am I at risk of passing down? What can I do differently to break these cycles? Action step. Identify one generational pattern you want to break and create a plan to ensure you don't pass it down. Exercise. Breaking generational trauma cycles. Write about one generational pattern you are committed to breaking. What's one action I can take to protect my peace daily? Step 6. Cultivating a trauma-informed support system. Goal. Surrounding yourself with people who support your growth. Lesson. The importance of being around emotionally healthy people. Recognizing when relationships are based on shared trauma rather than true support. Building a network of friends, mentors, or professionals who encourage healing. Reflection. Questions. Are my closest relationships built on support or shared pain? Do the people around me encourage my growth or keep me stuck? How can I strengthen my support system with positive, healing-focused individuals? Action step. Reach out to someone who aligns with your healing journey and build a deeper, healthier connection. Exercise. Building a trauma-informed support system. List 5 qualities of a healthy support system and assess your current circle. Complete these exercises before concluding the course. Step 7. Becoming a proactive guardian of your healing goal. Taking full control over your healing journey and ensuring lasting transformation. Lesson. Healing is a lifelong commitment, not a temporary phase. How to stay committed to self-awareness and personal growth. Developing an evolving personal strategy for long-term mental wellness. Reflection. Questions. What habits and lessons will I carry with me forever? How will I continue evolving as I grow? What legacy of healing do I want to leave behind? Final action step. Write a healing manifesto. A short statement of commitment to your growth and well-being. Exercise. Committing to lifelong healing. Write a healing manifesto, a statement of lifelong commitment to healing. Final wrap-up exercise. Write a reflection letter to your past self, summarizing everything you've learned and how you've grown. Final reflection. If I could go back in time, what advice would I give my younger self? What does healing mean to me now compared to when I started? How will I celebrate my progress?